Well, I don't really worry about how competitive it is. Actually, the scoreboard really doesn't matter, nor does a lot of the red versus white. What matters is we got a great crowd, huge energy. It's a great really representation of our culture here at Ferris, and alum. I've got like 20 former players from last year's team here, a bunch of alums, administration, students, and so it's really cool to have a great culture, and that's our goal, just to kind of put on a show. Chris Okoye won't run the ball too much, but we're trying to have a show and have fun, and our kids had a great time, minus Marvin banging his knee up a little bit. Kenny James blasted him. Minus that, we came through healthy, and it's been a great spring. The kids have been just glorious. It's a blessing for me to work with them every day, so I'm really proud of the way our guys have worked and done the things they need to do to try to improve themselves.
I'm sure you had some goals for the team coming into spring ball. How are those goals met as we conclude today?
Well, it's really in spring ball. It's really individualized goals. It's that period of time where they're trying to grow as players, and so I don't try to evaluate. There's nobody to compete against, so there's no score against an opponent. It's just competing against yourself. So from my analysis, when a DB gets beat by a receiver, I'm happy about the receiver making a play and the DB not making the play, and vice versa. So, ultimately it's about the young people trying to do the things they need to do to better themselves and put themselves in a better place to compete. And for us in the spring game, it's really a young person's game. You didn't see Malik Taylor, Zach Sieler, Terrell Porter. You didn't see a lot of those guys. Okoye didn't play other than that one play. So there's a lot of guys, Tavi Thomas didn't play, Javante Alexander didn't play, so it goes on and on who didn't play. But it's all about then having the young people who really haven't had too much opportunity around here to show themselves. And I thought a lot of guys did that. We'll evaluate the tape, but the growth that we had from like Sam Highbore or Dion Earls or DJ made some plays catching the ball today. Lazon made some plays. So the growth we had from the beginning of spring ball to the end was quite dramatic. I'm really pleased about that.
Coach, you also didn't have Reggie Bell out there as well, but he was sitting there in the huddles and everything. How great is that to see him as a leader, and what do you see from the young quarterbacks?
Yeah, do you notice Reggie out there? I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, he's a ball energy. So yeah, you never really miss him running around. But I thought it was good. Javon Shaw, that was the best he's looked all spring running the ball, and he's got obviously a unique skill set. He's a shorter quarterback, and basically, for lack of better description, a wildcat kind of quarterback. Where Mooney's a longer guy, he can throw the ball, and I thought Travis Russell was sharp, particularly on the first possession. Travis Russell is a steady player, and he's got the instincts that championship quarterbacks have. So he did a nice job. So all in all, we had a bunch of young guys playing, and all in all, it was really a well played game, I thought.
And defensively, you returned a lot of players. I mean, we didn't see a lot of them today, but how coming off that semifinal run, how key will that be for you guys this year?
Well, it's critically important. Our secondary, particularly, Zinner played quite a bit out there, which I can't keep him off the field. But he's a fifth-year guy. Played a lot. Tavi and Javante didn't play. They've been our starting corners. But Kenny James, he's the one that kind of had two big explosive hits. He's a senior back in the secondary too. Let alone Keon Addison, and there's just a bunch of guys. Willie Smith, there's a bunch of guys back there that are fifth-year guys, and that's a key to our secondary. Zach Sieler's going to make his plays. Chris Okoye is going to make his plays. Dossie's a senior, another DN that's played for 4 years for us. Dylan Roney. So it's multiple guys that really have played a lot, and that's what happens. I think when you have, 28 seniors, it's a unbelievable number of guys that we have that are going to be seniors. So, yeah.
Going back to Reggie, how active was he this spring in track, and where does he fit in now that Trevor's graduated?
Reggie had a shoulder issue, so he's kind of in a rehab situation. So he hasn't really done much all spring, other than the mental aspects. Very engaged in practice, and so that's that's the biggest part with him. We've all seen his physical tools, and he can throw it, he can run it. There's a lot he can do. Two concerns is to develop that body to have the really a more sturdy body and take more hits, and then the mental aspect's critically important as well. And he's learned a lot in the spring. He's just through seeing it through the other quarterback's eyes. I think he's developed that way, so that's important.
You had a Division I basketball player playing safety for you today. What's it like having Deshaun back there, and how has he adapted to football again after being out for 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I've known Deshaun since he was probably in 7th grade, so it's awesome. Deshaun Thrower's just an incredibly competitive young man, and so Coach Bronkman and I are like, we don't really know how it's going to work here, and once football is going on and basketball is going on, but Deshaun might be the guy, and I don't even know what the rules are, but if it can happen, Deshaun might be a guy that plays on a Saturday afternoon here at Top Taggart, plays the whole game and leads us to a victory, and then goes and plays in the gym and in the wink and scores 20 points and helps us win, and on the same day. That's how he is. So we don't really worry about it too much, but it's awesome to have him out there because he's just a great young man, and he's just a hard worker, and he's learned a lot about playing safety. But coming out of high school, I mean, he was a Division I. He had Division I offers at football as well as basketball. So, yeah. But he's Mr. Basketball. So when you're Mr. Basketball, you probably think, geez, I should go play basketball.
So he stuck his head in there in the first series where he got his first pop of football with Ferris State. So what did you think about that?
It's just like riding a bike with him. I'm sure he's Bronkema might be worried. I wasn't worried too much, but he's a gifted athlete. And, I've seen him play football, all the way through his high school career, and he's just he's had an awesome spring for us too, and so you add him to the rest of the seniors that are back there, and it makes for what I consider a really good secondary.
Coach, this wraps up the spring training now, and you head into the summer in a couple weeks with classes wrapping up. What do you tell your team after the game, and then as they head off for the summer to prepare yourself for another long season?
Well, if you do the math, we played December 10th. Okay, now it's April 22nd. So the time we had to really develop ourselves from December 10th when we ended, going into Christmas break and coming back in January, is less time than you have now from April 22nd to August when we gather again. So to me, it's really a big development stage. They'll have more time to develop their bodies, to prepare themselves physically to take on the challenges in the fall. So this is a really critical time for us, and it's a time where it really requires that the young men are self-motivated, because there's not I'm not around it to kick them in the butt. I can't do that legally. So it's going to be on them to be self-motivated, be determined, work on their weaknesses, develop their strengths, and continue to grow as a player, because ultimately, it becomes, what individual can rise up and win a job. And there's a lot of jobs to be won. I always tell them, what happened last year. In my opinion, I always tell them the best is yet to come. I mean, the best is yet to come here at Ferris State football. I truly, preach that to them. But it's on them to win a job, and there's no entitlement. In fact, I said to Tavi this afternoon before the game about 12:45, I said, you were an All-American last year. Now let's get going and try to be an All-American this year, because you might get beat out and not start. So we kind of roll that way, and he's competitive. He'll probably know that, but there's no entitlement in this program. You got to go win the job, and so that's their job to do from now until that first game.
I was able to get some spring game experience today. What are you seeing out there on the field?
It was just a perfect example of us just being able to execute what we've been working on all spring. When you got a lot of playmakers on the outside, which I had today, it's easy to take your shots and take your chances. So it was just really good to get the ball into the hands of guys that can make a lot of plays with the ball.
A lot of playmakers available, but the defense has obviously stepped up in low-scoring games. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, great athletes on the defensive side of the ball. And I think one thing that's special about the spring is you go against each other, for an entire month. And so when you get a chance to play and get in the game feel, there's a lot of intensity and passion, so they come out ready to play.
With the graduates, Trevor, there's a lot of competition with quarterbacks. How has that process been with you throughout the spring?
The biggest thing for us is just to get better every day, to grow from practice 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and so on and so forth. I think as a quarterback, we're a pretty tight-knit group, and we're always pushing each other to get better, so that's the biggest thing.
Travis, what are you personally looking to work on heading into next season?
I definitely want to make sure I stay healthy. Obviously going to want to work on my footwork and just be able to manage the offense more, be in total command by studying film and making sure I'm ready when we come back for fall camp.
How did it feel to be out there on the field with some live action type football right now?
It feels great. It feels great. That's what you come here for, to play football. And, you go through practice, and it's a grind. The spring is a long season. But to be able to get out there and play in a game, it feels awesome.
That spring training or spring ball's come to an end now. What were your goals heading into this spring season?
Just work on some new moves, some footwork, and bigger size-wise, get more familiar with the team out there.
What were you seeing on the field today from yourself and some of your teammates?
It was nice seeing the young bucks out there, seeing them play around, see who can hit and who can really play at the when they're going live instead of just at practice.
I mean, a defensive battle from both sides
Yeah.
of the teams today. I've seen that from the sidelines. How did that look? And are you guys excited defensively heading this season?
Yeah, I am. It's nice seeing those guys out there battling. I mean, we had our defense was split in half, but they were still didn't skip a beat. They're all out there meshing together, flowing well. So it's nice seeing them out there together.
Obviously, you're coming off a big year. How are you feeling entering this season?
I'm excited. Can't wait. I think we're gonna have a good year next year and ready to play.
Now, as a team and individually, are the things that you're setting goals for and hoping to accomplish?
One more time.
As a team and individually for yourself, what are some goals that you set for this upcoming
Well, we saw how far we got last year, so obviously we want to do just as good, if not better. And really excited for the next season, playing our hardest and just keep improving constantly.
And how did it feel just to see some live action football after this
Love
short
it.
break?
Love it. It's spring ball's a long season. Pretty good weather this year, but it was nice out there at the spring game today, seeing everyone hit and having fun flying around.